Imagine walking into a room wearing something slightly different than usual. Maybe your shirt has a small stain, your hair isn't sitting the way you wanted, or you said something awkward a few minutes ago. Suddenly, it feels like everyone noticed. You start wondering who saw it, what they thought, and whether people are secretly judging you. But here's the strange part. Most of them probably didn't notice at all. Your brain may be dramatically overestimating how much attention other people are paying to you. This is known in psychology as the spotlight effect, and it reveals something fascinating about the way we experience social life. We don't experience the world from a completely objective perspective. We experience it through our own attention, and because we are constantly aware of ourselves, it can feel as if everyone else is equally aware of us. But they aren't. Think about your average day. You wake up thinking about your responsibilities, your appearance, your plans, your mistakes, your conversations, and the things you need to get done. Now imagine that everyone around you is doing exactly the same thing. The person sitting across from you on the bus is probably thinking about their own problems. The person walking past you may be thinking about an upcoming meeting. Someone at the gym might be wondering whether they are exercising correctly. Someone in a store might be worried about what they need to buy before going home. Their attention is mostly directed toward their own experience, just as yours is directed toward yours. Yet when something embarrassing happens to us, our brain can create a completely different feeling. It can make the moment seem enormous. You spill a drink, stumble over a sentence, forget someone's name, or make a mistake in front of a group, and suddenly your mind behaves as though a spotlight has turned directly toward you. You may replay the moment later that night, imagining what everyone must have thought. But the intensity of your own memory doesn't necessarily tell you how important the event was to other people. It tells you how important it was to you. This distinction is incredibly important. Your brain has access to your thoughts, your emotions, your mistakes, and your physical sensations every second of the day. Other people don't. You know when you feel nervous. You know when your hands are shaking. You know when you said something you wish you could take back. Because you have access to all of this internal information, your own experience feels extremely detailed and significant. But when you look at another person, you only see a small fraction of what is happening inside them. You don't see every insecurity they are carrying. You don't hear every thought running through their head. You don't know what they were thinking 5 minutes ago. And this creates an interesting psychological imbalance. You experience yourself from the inside, but you experience everyone else mostly from the outside. That can make your own mistakes feel much larger than other people's mistakes. Think about the last time someone else made a small social mistake. Maybe they pronounced a word incorrectly, dropped something, forgot what they were saying, or wore something unusual. How long did you think about it? Probably not very long. You may have noticed it, registered it, and then moved on. But when you make the same mistake yourself, your mind may hold on to it for hours. Why? Because the event is connected to your self-awareness. Your brain doesn't simply record what happened. It evaluates what happened in relation to you. And this is where the spotlight effect becomes especially interesting. Researchers have found that people often overestimate how noticeable their appearance, actions, and mistakes are to others. In one classic experiment, participants were asked to wear an embarrassing shirt and enter a room with other people. The people wearing the shirts predicted that many others would notice what they were wearing. In reality, far fewer people noticed than the participants expected. The important lesson wasn't really about the shirt. It was about perspective. When something is highly noticeable to you, your brain can assume that it must be equally noticeable to everyone else. But your personal attention creates a kind of psychological magnifying glass. The more you focus on something, the larger it feels in your subjective experience. This happens outside embarrassing situations too. You might think everyone noticed that you were unusually quiet during a conversation. You might believe people noticed that you looked tired. You might assume someone remembers a strange comment you made last week. Sometimes they may have noticed. But noticing something and continuing to think about it are completely different things. Human attention is limited. We constantly filter information, and most things that enter our awareness disappear quickly because they aren't relevant enough to keep processing. This means someone can notice your mistake without assigning it the meaning you imagine. They may simply think, "That happened," and continue with their day. Meanwhile, your brain may still be analyzing it hours later. There is another reason this effect can become so powerful. We naturally use ourselves as a reference point when trying to predict what other people think. If something makes you embarrassed, you may assume it would make another person embarrassed too. If you think your appearance looks strange, you may assume everyone else sees it the same way. If you believe your mistake makes you look incompetent, you may assume other people reached the same conclusion. But people don't have access to your internal story. They see the event, not necessarily the meaning you attach to it. This is why self-consciousness can sometimes feel like being watched even when nobody is actually paying much attention. The feeling is real, but the interpretation can be inaccurate. And understanding that difference can change the way you move through everyday life. Imagine giving a presentation and forgetting one sentence. Your brain immediately says, "Everyone noticed. I look nervous. They probably think I don't know what I'm talking about." But another person in the room may have simply thought they lost their place for a second and then forgotten about it. The difference between these two interpretations is enormous. One turns a tiny mistake into a social disaster. The other treats it as a normal human moment. The spotlight effect doesn't mean nobody notices you. It doesn't mean people never judge each other. And it definitely doesn't mean every social fear is imaginary. People do observe one another. Social feedback matters. But the psychological mistake is assuming that other people are monitoring us with the same intensity that we monitor ourselves. They usually aren't. In fact, there is a useful question you can ask yourself the next time you feel intensely self-conscious. If someone else did exactly what I just did, how long would I think about it? This question shifts your perspective away from your internal experience and toward a more realistic social viewpoint. If someone else made the same tiny mistake and you would forget about it within minutes, there is a good chance other people may also move on quickly. Another powerful realization is that people are often more forgiving than our anxious predictions suggest. When someone knows you are human, small imperfections usually don't destroy their opinion of you. Sometimes they can even make you seem more relatable. A perfectly controlled conversation can feel distant, while a moment of hesitation can simply feel human. You don't need to eliminate every awkward moment to be socially confident. You need to stop treating every awkward moment as evidence that something is wrong with you. This is one reason self-awareness can become complicated. A certain amount of self-awareness is useful. It helps us understand our behavior, learn from mistakes, and adapt to social situations. But excessive self-monitoring can turn normal experiences into constant evaluations. Instead of participating in the conversation, you start watching yourself participate in the conversation. Instead of enjoying the moment, you analyze how you look while enjoying it. Instead of speaking naturally, you monitor every word before it leaves your mouth. Your attention moves away from the world and becomes trapped in observation of yourself. And ironically, this can make you feel even more noticeable. The solution isn't to stop caring completely about what people think. That would be unrealistic. Humans are social creatures, and other people's reactions can matter. The goal is to develop a more balanced perception of attention. You can care about how you affect people without assuming that everyone is constantly evaluating you. You can learn from mistakes without turning them into permanent identities. You can notice embarrassment without treating embarrassment as proof that everyone else noticed. And perhaps most importantly, you can remember that other people are living inside their own psychological worlds. They have their own worries, memories, goals, insecurities, and private conversations happening in their minds. You are a character in their day, but you are rarely the main character of it. That realization can feel strangely liberating. The person who seemed intimidating may be worried about themselves. The stranger you think is judging your appearance may be completely distracted by something happening in their own life. The people you believe are remembering your mistake may have already forgotten it. And the embarrassing moment you keep replaying may exist almost entirely in your own memory. So the next time your brain tells you that everyone is watching, pause for a moment. Ask yourself whether you are experiencing reality or simply experiencing your own attention. Because sometimes the spotlight isn't actually shining on you. Sometimes your brain is simply holding the flashlight, pointing it at yourself, and assuming everyone else can see exactly what you see. Once you understand that, ordinary social moments can become much lighter. You can walk into a room without constantly checking yourself. You can speak without rehearsing every sentence in your head. You can make a small mistake without turning it into a story about who you are. And you can finally give yourself the same freedom you naturally give to everyone else. The freedom to be human without believing that the entire world is watching.